Hello, everybody. Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. Welcome. Let me just check something here. I should be. Oh, there we are. Okay. I always have the YouTube in another tab trailing behind, and the sound doesn't seem to catch up with the live StreamYard streaming. And when it does, then I've got my voice echoing and need time to mute it. So bear with me when I do that. I think we're okay now. If there's anybody here in the chat, please let me know so that I can begin. It says that I'm live, so I hope that I am. Maybe I'll just go ahead. So, first of all, do you like my shirt? Oh, hello, Rolf Matson. Welcome. First of all, this shirt, one of my favorite albums. It's Paul Kantner and Jefferson Starship, Blows Against the Empire. And I'm wearing it because it has a... I can't do this backwards. It has a phoenix bird on here, which you probably can't see very well, but if you know the album cover, you'll be familiar with this. And I don't know, I just decided to wear a shirt with a bird on it. First of all, let me say that I've always been terrified of birds ever since I was little. My grandmother used to keep a parakeet in her Cincinnati apartment, and when my sister and I would go to visit, she would let it loose out of its cage, and it would dive bomb and chase us and terrorize us. So that might be where that was established, that I had this fear of birds. But also there's a sort of thing that birds developed from reptiles, from dinosaurs. Dinosaurs evolved into what we know as birds, and that feels like a sort of a scary reptilian thing to me. I don't know. But I'm also fascinated by birds. You know, my first name is Robin, so that's a bird. Anyway, I didn't have any bird decks, just as I don't have dog decks, cat decks, dragon decks, animal decks. But I was kind of intrigued by a couple of things. There's this term called augury, A-U-G-U-R-Y, which is the Greco-Roman religious practice of observing the behavior of birds to receive omens. Now, they didn't go, when I looked it up, they didn't really go into detail as how they observe birds. I don't know whether it's like watching them physically, what they do, or maybe flight patterns. There's this thing that you might be familiar with called, I think it's called murmuration, where you see flocks of thousands of birds in the sky, and they change into these amorphous shapes as they fly, because they seem to have this own kind of internal radar, or know how to fly together. So, I mean, that's kind of intriguing to me. Also, there's another word called ornithomancy, O-R-N-I-T-H-O-M-A-N-C-Y, which is, again, I guess, sort of divining somehow through the observation of birds. Hello, Al Phillips, welcome. So anyway, I was a little bit intrigued, and I wasn't out to buy a bird deck, but I was looking on Etsy, as I often do, and I see the most intriguing and unusual independently produced decks on there. I'm also not really, for the most part, into oracle decks, but I decided I found this one that I liked the images of, and it was heavily bird related. And I thought, gee, do I really want a bird deck? But the colors were pretty, the images were pretty, and I particularly liked the keywords on the cards. And it is an oracular system. It's called the Between Worlds Oracular Cards and Guidebook. Not to be confused with the Between the Worlds, which is another oracle deck, I think. This is the box, pretty box with birds all over it. There's also my fascination with Alfred Hitchcock, and particularly the movie The Birds. Anybody an Alfred Hitchcock fan or a fan of The Birds? I hated that movie when I first saw it, first time, because the ending felt like a non-ending, and I didn't know what to make of that. I wanted things wrapped up at the end of my movies, and I thought, what the heck? It just seems sort of chopped off at the end, leaving us hanging. But it's since become one of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies. Anyway, that's a little aside. So, yeah, it's a two-part box. It's a lift-off box. It does have a little sort of thumb insert there on the side. It's, really hefty. It's really solid. And there's a couple of thumbnails on the back and a little explanation. It actually doesn't give the name of the creator, and I know I've seen it somewhere, but I just went looking through the book and I couldn't find it, or on the box. On the back it says, Between Worlds is a deck of 64 oracular cards for pursuing the center of the unknowable. Rooted in archetypal frameworks and intuitive wisdom, the deck is an invitation into a realm between the inner and outer, the upper and lower, the physical and spiritual. This deck also came with a canvas bag, which is a little bit snug to fit the box in, but I think the cards alone fit in pretty well. It's a very heavy-duty canvas bag, and I absolutely love this little graphic on it, which looks like a cross between a bird and a plant to me. But I was so taken by this graphic, I thought, oh, that would make a really nice tattoo. So it's a drawstring bag, and the drawstrings are quite heavy. I've never seen cord that thick on a drawstring bag, and I don't even want to cinch it because it does cinch up, but it's so tight that it's like really difficult to get open against once you close it. So, but I just wanted to show you that it does come with a bag. And the box does snugly fit in the bag, but you may struggle to get it in and out unless you put just the cards in. It also comes with a little booklet, kind of pamphlet, but also a full booklet. Hey, Antoinette. Antoinette Tarot and Jewelry just did a walkthrough of this last night that I noticed. So, yeah, the booklet is 108 pages. And the pamphlet, if you just need a quick reference, all the stuff is here in the pamphlet, but the booklet has more, and it has black and white pictures of all the cards that might make it a little bit easier to interpret. Now, This is an interesting oracle deck. Excuse me. There's a chart in here, like a map. Looks kind of like a map of the universe. It's sort of like circles, that concentric circles that radiate out from the center, and they're labeled according to different segments of the deck. And the deck is divided into valleys, aspects, guides, wisdoms, and universal forces. You'll find what that's about if you read it, but I mean it's not a quick and easy thing to explain. But anyway, they're all kind of divided up into this chart, and let's see. I thought it was interesting that they have, well, on the chart at the top, from the outer side in. I should probably go from the inner side out. From the inner side out, from the center of the concentric rings is that little icon figure, and it's called forces. And we have universal mind, universal body, universal spirit, and there's one more that I can't remember, but it'll come up in the cards. I think it might be emergence or something. And I think the emergence card is basically like sort of the beginning of creation, like coming out of the egg. Then we have wisdoms, and the wisdoms are divided. It's centeredness, contentment, solitude, surrender, simplicity, humility. Actually, I'm going to be repeating myself if I do all this, because all this stuff is in the cards. But know that there is a structure to this. Hey, Sandra. So, yeah. I do want to read a little something in the guidebook, because people are going to have issues with this. People have issues with AI. Let's just talk about it a little bit. AI is here to stay, whether we want it to be or not. I don't think any degree of protesting is going to stop people from creating AI. I don't think AI is a one-dimensional problem or issue. I think people need to open their minds to it a little bit more. Sometimes it's used really cheesily and cheaply, and it's like quick solution to a problem. Other times it's more thought out. I think we need to think about how we deal with it legally and morally in terms of rights for people. But I also think we need to remember that it's a new tool, just in the way it took us a while to embrace cameras and photography as art, and to incorporate scissors and glue cutout of other people's materials to create collage. There, Photoshop. There are lots of tools over the years, and eventually we embrace them. I've been watching YouTube videos lately that you listen to the little documents. You listen to the narrator, and it's the same guy's voice, and it's really poorly done AI, because it'll be a feature about a Hollywood star biography or something, and they'll pronounce the name 3 or 4 different ways as they're going along. It's like, you don't know who your documentary is about to know how to pronounce it right. You're dealing with AI. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I've seen a lot of AI decks that just look cheesy or cheap to me. They don't look right artistically. And then there are others that look very artistically done. And this is one of them. I mean, in some of the images, I can kind of spot the AI, but I want to read you something here from the creator. It's in the introduction. There are mirrors all around us. On a 2022 trip to Portugal, I began a practice of photographing feathers I'd come across. They were appearing in a sudden quantity and variety that surprised me. I noted the time, place, and direction the feather pointed. That same year, I was teaching an illustration course when another instructor had introduced me to a relatively new text-to-image technology, which he was using to supplement and shake up his own arts practice. That night, I got to tinkering with it too. At first, I was exploring what symbols arose with certain prompts like, quote, trust, unquote, or, quote, longing, unquote. As someone with a degree in art and a background in design, I was curious what this thing would show me, be it cliche, archetype, or something seemingly random. I enjoyed the space between intentionality and chance. I got to thinking about a project started in the 1930s called the Archive for Research in Archetypal Symbolism, ARAS, which explored the universality in images across culture and time. Were archetypes present in these images as well? This felt like fodder for an oracle deck. In the spirit of emergence, the first half of the process was about generating volume to see what arose. I needed to get everything out there. What associations was I seeing? What rabbit holes did I need to explore? Some 3,000 plus images emerged out of the process. Okay, then he goes on about defining the structures and stuff. But I just want to say that he was a graphic artist. There are probably some graphic elements in this that he collaged into the work. He did use an AI program, but it wasn't just, 100 or a couple hundred. He dealt with over 3,000 images and then found the right ones to combine into these 60, did I say 64, 68 cards, whatever. So I think there's something to that. There's definitely work involved there. And how much or how little the AI did, it assisted him. It provided him with some tools. It provided him with some images. Would they be different than images for interpretation? Say, if we took a camera and photographed cloud formations and then put them on cards? I don't know. But anyway, I want to leave you with that. I don't want you to close your minds off completely to AI, because you're going to have to deal with it at some point, or you're going to be on one side of the fence from everybody else. You have to figure out your own way, and what you'll accept, how much you'll accept, what works, what doesn't work. For me, it comes down to, do the images speak to me? And actually, in this deck, I was more intrigued by the keywords on the cards than the images. The images are really beautiful. There's a lovely palette, and they're pretty images, but I don't find them actually intuitive so much. But I find the keywords and phrases really inspiring in terms of an oracle, unlike other oracle decks that I've come across. So when we go through the cards, I want you to be thinking more about the words on the page than the image on the page. The image is, for me, just kind of like pretty art decoration. But the focus of this thing, I think, is the structure and the key phrases. So, little book. There's some spreads in here. There's the chart inside, and each card has a page, and if we need to look at the book, we can. I'm going to show you the cards now. So card size is typical tarot size. Exactly. Card weight is, it's pretty good. I don't know. I don't think these cards have a core to them. They're fairly stiff. I like them. They're kind of matte with I want to say there's a lamination, but it doesn't feel like a lamination. They feel like sort of silky matte, and they're not that shiny, and there might be a little bit of a sheen there. I love the backs, actually. They're on a kind of an ivory cardstock that reminds me of like eggshell white. And this, you can see, these are like, looks like little birds in flight, I think, or in a tree, but it looks like it might be in flight. So we're going to start off with the first section. Let me just check chat here. I don't agree with AI decks being priced at indie prices. I'm still working through this space landscape with myself. It looked like Crow Tarot, hence not spotting the AI till yesterday. So first card is Valley. The first section, I should say, is the valleys. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 valleys, 7 valleys. It's a major chapter of a spiritual quest, period of time, place, or mental state, typically long-lasting and multifaceted. So we first have the Valley of the Quest. And I just absolutely love the textures and the colors and how these look almost like watercolor or gouache, not sure. But make note of the labels. So when I pause to think, ponder Valley of the Quest. What does Valley of the Quest mean to me? That's very much like a Fool card to me. It's sort of like the start of a journey, Second one is Valley of Love. Some of these kind of also remind me a little bit of the coloration of medieval paintings by Bosch and Bruegel. Just really, I love the sort of warm, pretty kind of summer, fall kind of colors. Number 3 is Valley of Knowledge. It looks like a maze. Four is I'm going to stop counting them because I'm going to lose my count, and the cards aren't numbered. Valley of Detachment. I just want to check because they're not numbered. They also don't seem to be in alphabetical order. I'm wondering if that's going to be a problem when it comes to looking them up. Oh, actually, they are in alphabetical order in the book. Yeah, they're in alphabetical order in the little chart. Little folder as well. Okay, sorry. Back to the valleys. Valley of Unity. And again, I'm not a bird person, but these images are really pretty to me. Valley of Bewilderment. Valley of Annihilation. That's the last valley. Next, we go through the aspects. Now, the aspects are day-to-day situations in life insight into making decisions, typically of the physical domain. So these keywords are a little bit more intuitive, I think. Achievement. You're sort of like actions and goals. Achievement and achievement. Hi, Deanne. Ancestry. Clarity. Community. That one communicates real well as community, I think. Compassion. Look at the feathers. It's like the yolk of an egg. Creativity. Discernment. Curiosity. Death. Departure. Dissatisfaction. And I don't know, as you're looking at these, whether you're getting hits, intuitive hits from the imagery. But again, as I say, for me, at this stage of study with this deck, the images feel more like a pretty decoration to support the keywords, because it feels to me like the keywords are, they set me off in a direction of intuition more than the images do. Domination. Embodiment. Forgiveness. Gestation. Oh, this is a pretty one. Grasping. I love the way the images flow, like, you know, bird feathers and air currents. Hello, Annie. Welcome. Growing pains. Guidance. These cards feel really good too. Healing. I love too that they're not stark white on the borders, that it's that kind of eggshell, kind of ivory or creamy color. Kinfolk. This is a large section, the aspects. Liminality. So I said the valley section was major chapters. The aspects are day to day. So I guess if this were a tarot, which it's not, these would be the minor arcana. Multiplicity. Antoinette says, keywords, then some elements in the images for me. Definitely considering doing the course on the website, especially as it is reduced right now. Partnership. Passage. Productivity. Rage. Resolve. Revolution. See, I'm not really an oracle card person, but when I get a card like this and I look at the word revolution and think, how does revolution apply to my life or my situation? That really gives me a moment to pause and slow down and ponder how to read that into my situation. Scholarship. Security. Transformation. Trepidation. They really went reaching for these words. Have you ever seen another oracle deck with the word trepidation in it? Triumph. Vexation. Withdrawal. Okay, so that is the last card in the aspects section. The next one is guides, and it says, drawn from Jungian and astrological energies, depict spiritual beings or guides. What does the guide need me to know? This section feels like archetypes to me. So we have the maker, just checking the comments. Annie, I've been exploring oracle decks more lately and have been enjoying the Abandoned Oracle by Patrick Valenza of Deviant Moon. It gives fun, accurate readings for me. Antoinette, a lot of these also felt hit me with tarot vibes to pull on the keywords. Yeah. The gardener. The orphan. I don't know if you see what I mean about the phrases or the keywords on it. It's like when I see the orphan, I think, am I an orphan? In what ways am I an orphan? You know, how does that fit into my scheme of, or my placement where I am in the world right now? The crone. I mean, they could have used wisdom instead of the crone, but I kind of like this as an archetype, the crone. The muse. The healer. The architect. I do have to confess that I prefer to imagine these as paintings rather than computer generated art, but we don't have the whole story here in terms of, you know, how much of this is computer generated. Is it all? Is there some degree of artistic manipulation? He was trained as a graphic artist and designer. So the destroyer. The warrior. The wayfinder. And if you're a bird lover who's looking for a deck to feature particular sort of National Geographic type photographs of birds, this isn't the deck for you. These feel to me like surreal, unreal birds or images inspired by birds rather than actual birds. Spirit energy of birds, perhaps. Annie, perhaps orphan can mean that you feel isolated from something or someone in your life. Exactly. The messenger. Wait a minute. Oh. And the amorist, that's the last one for that section. Then we move on to the next section, which is wisdoms. So we're out of the kind of archetypes of the guides section. Wisdoms offer pause for deeper contemplation, ask us to go deeper into ourselves, charge the cards around them. And we have in wisdom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. So, and the structure is kind of weird, 6 cards here, 6 cards there, 30 cards or whatever. So this one, centeredness. We've got a human being in this one. Contentment. Solitude. And there's a hermit card for you. Solitude. Surrender. It could be a 10 of Swords. I mean, same kind of energy. Simplicity. Humility. So that's the last of the wisdom cards. And then the final grouping is the universal forces. So we have emergence, which, like I said, I think that's sort of birth or creation. You have that energy coming out from an egg, and you've got all those birds flying there. Universal Mind, Universal Body, and Universal Spirit. So I think that's pretty good for, what did I say, for, I think 46 cards? No, sorry, 64 cards. There's 64. It's not overly thick. I think it's sort of an average size deck. It shuffles pretty easily. I'm not feeling any clumping. Has that nice ASMR card sound. And he says it's sold out. I didn't notice that. I'm sorry if that's true. I bought this maybe a month ago. I saw it on Etsy, and I just I have held on to it for a couple of weeks since I got it, because I wanted to use it for my September deck, since I'm not buying decks very often anymore. And I have another deck that I want to show you, that I was going to wait until October for, because it's kind of a sort of a spooky Halloween time kind of a deck, and it's fun. But it was from MPC, and I thought, if I wait until the 1st of October, people might not have time to get it, order it and get it until halfway through the month, and then there's almost no time to use it yet. So what I'm going to do, actually, a week from today, Sunday, is my birthday. I have a birthday next week. And so I think I'm going to do another live next week, and I'm going to show the October deck for then. It doesn't mean I'm going to have a deck to show in October. Chance will tell if anything shows up or intrigues me enough to share. But I think it might be better to show this deck at the end of the first week in September, so you've got, if you want to use it during the month of October, Halloween month, you have 3 weeks to order and receive it. So anyway, I'm not going to tell you what the deck is, but just say it's a fun and spooky kind of deck. And I was just so kind of charmed by the initial imagery of it that I had to have it, even if just for a laugh. And I really don't generally do theme decks according to seasons or holidays or whatever. But I just thought it looked like a deck that you could use year round, but it feels like something that would be fun for Halloween. Is that a collection of frozen Charlottes on the wall behind Robin? Swoon. Yes or no. I haven't got people to actually tell me for certain if that's what they are or not. It's been suggested that's what they are. They're little porcelain bisque dolls that I understand were given away at carnivals and fairs back in like the 1920s. And they're little figures of children. I call it my orphanage, because they're all little forlorn looking children figures with no moving parts. It's just like little statuettes. They're sort of like monolithic. And I do love them. I used to belong to a flea market group, and I would meet them every weekend for breakfast, and then we do the flea markets. And I thought, well, everybody else has something they're collecting. What am I going to collect? And I found one of these one day. I thought, oh, this is intriguing. And then I found out it wasn't a solitary thing, that there were more than one of these. There was a huge array. So then I began a collection of them, and so I put them all in my orphanage. My dad built that little frame thing for me. I also have some miniature art works in there, some paintings that I purchased from there was a gallery in New York that I love called Giant Robot Gallery. And I think there's one still open in California. The one in New York closed. But what I loved about them, it was art for the everyman. And a lot of it was sort of anime inspired, or I don't quite know how to describe it. But they were all kind of miniature or small artworks. It was a tiny little storefront, and all the stuff in there was like under 200, usually like 85 to 125. Art for the everyday man, the common man. You could afford these things if you wanted, real art. You can't generally go to a gallery and buy a painting for under thousands and thousands of dollars, but this was a place where you could go and collect art at an affordable price. So I like that. So let's see. Cool and kooky. Love the display. Really interesting. Sorry, my camera works so bad in here, and it's hard to see. I don't know. You can't really see any better, probably. One of these days, I'll do a little go around in my room with my phone or something and take a video. But it's such a mess in here. So anyway, thank you for joining me this week. And I'll try to put the link in the description below if I can find it on Etsy. But if it is sold out, then I'm sorry, you're out of luck. And I didn't mean to do that to you. Anyway, it's fascinating. I'm going to try to see if I'll have to check back with Antoinette in the future, or anybody else that has this, to see how they get along with it, whether they're able to work with it. Maybe you'll find used copies showing up because people don't know what to do with it. And actually, Antoinette says there's a course. So if there's a course, maybe whoever's running the course has a source as to where to buy the deck if it's no longer available on Etsy. So I don't know. Did you get yours on Etsy, Antoinette, or did you get it somewhere else? She says not Etsy, but I don't know. Website still had them yesterday. Okay. So yeah, maybe they don't have them on Etsy. Maybe they just have them where it was published, which I don't think is listed on the packaging. Yeah, this isn't really good marketing for these people. They don't give you the name of the creator of the deck, and they don't give you the publisher or any address. I don't think it's in the book. It says RPL Studios. Copyright 2024 by RPL Studios. info@betweenworldsdeck.com. And this is the second edition. So it's been out before, I guess, and maybe it'll be out again. I don't know. All right. I'm gonna let you all go. Thanks for joining me this first day of September. I hope to see you back on my birthday next Sunday. Bye.